Kamala Harris. We're going to go ahead and get the trash out of the way early. Kamala Harris, ladies and gentlemen, recently went on tour. And a lot of these people are labeling it the abortion tour. I won't necessarily label it abortion tour. I will call it women's reproductive rights. Women's reproductive rights. Now, I've been seeing online, ooh, Kamala Harris dropped the F-bomb. Kamala Harris dropped the F-bomb. I think that this is nothing more than a stunt, a ploy to get some visibility. They already not even talking about the things that's meaningful to the American people, such as immigration and inflation. But instead, they're trying to play off your emotions and also talk about women's reproductive rights. Right. Got it. AKA abortion. So this is the quick news clip about what it is that she was doing. And then in addition to that, I want to break down exactly what I want to go through the speech myself and see the full context of it. So let's check it out, y'all.
Empowerment to young women. Vice President Kamala Harris stole the show. She even used some potty language. Listen to this.
My mother would say to me, don't you ever let anybody tell you who you are. You tell them who you are. Don't ever carry as a personal burden your capacity to do whatever you dream and aspire to do based on other people's limited ability to see who can do what. We have to know that sometimes people will open the door for you and leave it open. Sometimes they won't. And then you need to kick that door down.
I think that she is quite possibly the fakest person that I've ever seen in my entire life. Everything that you see her do, all of the laughs, all of the, oh my God, I didn't mean to drop the F-bomb, or, oh my God, I just had to tell you this guy. It is the fakest thing that I've ever seen in my entire life. As a matter of fact, when I reviewed the Drew Barrymore show where she was called Mamala, that's what I'm going to start. I used to call her Cam Cam. Now I'm going to call her Mamala, Mamala of the country. When I reviewed the Drew Barrymore episode, did you know that they tried to copyright me and prevent me from continuing to have that on the channel? I went ahead and handled that. I said, let me go ahead and get my people on it. Needless to say, they dropped their copyright and my stuff is still rocking, both the clip and the original live stream that we had, and is monetized. So we're going to go ahead and keep that up. So you got to pick and choose your fights. Pick and choose your battles. You ain't got to fight everything, but make sure you pick and choose your battles. I wanted that one to stay up because election 2024 is coming up. But anyway, she just seemed like one of the fakest people that I've ever come across, even as a politician. I mean, Hillary Clinton was pretty fake. Barack was pretty charismatic. He's one of the reasons why he got into office, because white people and black people loved him. But she just seemed so fake, bro. So fake. Let me see if I can get the full context of the interview so I can understand where she's coming from. Let me fast forward this.
Minute. I'm putting these on not because I need them. Thank you. So I wrote this down. I said, no matter what you think about class, culture, color, or gender, we are about to talk with one of the most capable, influential, bold, and fearless thinkers ever. This human right here isn't out to connect some of us. She is here to connect all of us.
Who's writing these speeches, bro? This is so trash. Let me get to her part.
This really means.
That's right.
For so many women who are not in this room, and so many women who have been made to feel alone and been made to feel as though they should be quiet and not share or talk about their fears and their experiences. And so can we please again applaud Karen for her experience is going to impact women she may never meet. Women who may never know her name, but because of her ability and your ability, everyone here, to understand what's at stake and then to be here and to be engaged and be active, it's It's going to make a difference for a lot of people. So I want to thank everyone for being here and starting with Karen. About 2 years ago, the highest court in our land, the Court of Thurgood and RBG, take a constitutional right that had been recognized from the people of America, from the women of America. And thereafter, we have witnessed in state after state laws being proposed and passed that criminalize healthcare providers. A state in particular that I have in mind, Texas, would provide for prison for life for a healthcare provider, a doctor, a nurse, just doing their job. States that make no exception even for rape and incest. Now, many of you know I started my career as a prosecutor.
Boo! 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 Y'all do realize that this woman was one of the authors of, let me be quiet.
But you may not know why. So when I was in high school, I learned that one of my best friends was being molested by her stepfather. And when I learned that, I said to her, you have to come and stay with us. And I called my mother, and my mother said, of course she has to come stay with us, and she did. So at a young age, I decided I wanted to take on harms against women and children. And for the majority of my career as a prosecutor, I actually specialized in those kinds of cases. So the idea that these so-called leaders would say, even no exception for rape or incest, to say to a survivor of a crime of violence to their body, a violation to their body, that you, the survivor of that, don't have a right to make a decision about what happens to your body next, that's immoral. These are the kinds of things that are happening in our country. I think about it in the context of our daughter, who is 24. And as of today has fewer rights than my mother-in-law.
Okay.
I think of it in the context of the idea that we are a nation that was founded on certain fundamental principles, including that, which is we believe in freedom. The freedom of individuals to make decisions, in particular about what I call heart and home. And I think we all agree, one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree the government should not be telling her what to do with her body.
Did y'all know, here's a fun fact that you guys may not have known, since some of you don't do real research or you don't really understand exactly who Kamala Harris is. Kamala Harris was largely shunned by police officers because over in liberal California, during the time where she basically was elected in a runoff, running as district attorney, Kamala Harris, during her first 3 years, her conviction rate jumped from 52% to 67%. Some people say that one of her most controversial decisions was to decline to pursue the death penalty against a man who murdered a San Francisco police officer. And at the funeral, she was criticized, right? And that criticism prompted a standing ovation. And then as a result, she was basically shunned by police unions over the next decade. Now, a lot of people will forget that, or a lot of people will completely remove that, aside from the fact that she was friends with Barack Obama. But in addition to that, she controversially supported a law in 2010 that made truancy a misdemeanor, and it punished parents who failed to send their children to school. So in addition to the fact that police unions shunned her, they didn't like her, she refused to support police across the board, especially when it comes to violence against police officers, and she was being shunned. One of the reasons why she does not appear on the road with President Biden, right? One of the reasons she doesn't appear on the road with President Biden, especially when he continues to try to seek out endorsements and nominations amongst different unions and things like that, is because they're afraid that they will remember the fact that she refused to seek the death penalty against the man that murdered a police officer. And that was basically the end of her journey with that demographic of people. And so they're very, very careful about what they're doing to make sure that they market her to the right audience, considering that they cannot parade her out there from an immigration lens. They cannot parade her out there as a supporter of police officers and unions, which would then cause for her to really reach the masses or reach a certain demographic of people. They can't really sell her to the black audience literally because she doesn't, from all I understand, doesn't really identify as black. She identifies Indian. And then, so they have to parade her out here to give you guys talks with regard to women's rights and abortions, because that's the only thing that she can really stand on. And so while Biden is out here fundraising, she's out on a campaign trail instead of trying to close off our borders as the border czar, because they did a horrible job on that. They spend a majority of the time playing on your emotions for something that you can already control. Meaning that we have so many different ways for you to control whether or not you get pregnant or not, that they're spending countless tax dollars flying her from city to city and state to state to advocate on the behalf of women and playing their emotions, because they know that women often at times, especially black women, are the ones that swing the election one way or another, especially in households where the man is a simp. Just a fun fact for you guys. For those of you that don't like to research who you're voting for.
Body. If she chooses, she will talk with her priest or her pastor. She will talk with her rabbi or her imam, but not the government. And my goodness, I'm going to tell you, these states, some of them, I was just recently in Florida, six-week ban, which makes very clear, by the way, that these very important so-called leaders are not very clear about how a woman's body works.
Oh.
Since most women don't even know they're pregnant at 6 weeks. So either they don't know or they don't care. This is what's happening in our country in this year, 2024. And so we have to, all of us, and I'm preaching to the choir with this group who's here, we have to be active.
Did y'all know that Kamala Harris, under the Obama administration, was actually under consideration to become a Supreme Court justice? A lot of y'all are really unfamiliar with who it is that y'all dealing with. Under the Obama administration, she was rumored to be a potential Supreme Court nominee under the Obama administration, bro. Seriously, can you imagine Kamala Harris as a Supreme Court justice? That would be insane, bro.
These fundamental points that are about freedom, and also hopefully that we all, as Americans, have a sense of empathy and concern about the suffering of other people, So that's where we are.
Why is it important to you?
First of all, I am a daughter of a mother who had two goals in her life. My mother, her two goals were to raise her two daughters and to end breast cancer. My mother was a breast cancer researcher, and she was one of the very few women and women of color. And my mother, since the earliest days of, I have the, I didn't realize I did, but I have the distinction of being the first president or vice president to ever visit a reproductive health clinic and provide breast cancer screenings.
That's right.
Contraceptive care, PAPs.
All right, listen, I can only take so much. Very, very boring. Very, very emotional. Yeah, man, it's a weird situation. I'm not a fan, but yeah, she dropped the F-bomb. Woohoo! Of course, we got to report the news, so I try to make it as entertaining as possible, but it's no way to make this mummy entertaining whatsoever. Anyway.